I'm going to be resurfacing 3 laminate countertops in this home that we're remodeling. I'm using Daich's Spread Stone Countertop Finishing Kit. This has real ground stone in it, so you get a very durable finish. You get the look of natural stone, and it's heat, stain, and water resistant. For laminate countertops, clean them thoroughly, patch any imperfections, and then sand it before you put on your base coat. If you have sharp edges, it's not bad to round them off slightly. The stone coat is going to stick better. Stir the base coat thoroughly with a stirring stick. Use the paintbrush that they provide for the corners and any tight areas. As soon as you're done, wash it thoroughly with soap and water so you can reuse it. Apply a thin coat with a roller, and then you're going to allow it to dry 30 minutes. Wash the roller cover with soap and water so you can reuse it. After 30 minutes, apply a second coat on the edges or anywhere it looks thin. After you apply your second coat, you can wash out the tray with soap and water so you can reuse it. Tape off any areas you want to protect from the stone coating. You need to mix this thoroughly with a stirring stick or a paint mixer on a drill. A paint mixer is going to do a better job. Mix the coating thoroughly, pulling up from the bottom until it's one uniform color. If you use a mixer, wash it off with soap and water right away and you'll be able to reuse it. Use a paintbrush for the corners and a roller for the large surfaces. The coating has a slight texture to it. Using the paintbrush, you're just going to dab it in the corners rather than pulling it so it matches the texture of the roller. With the roller, apply it with a random crisscross pattern. It's going to make it look more natural. And then you're going to go back over an area lightly. You want to use the roller to create one uniform thickness. Use light pressure on the edges, and then you can come back and roll it the other direction so you get the same texture. Let the first coat dry 1 to 2 hours before you apply your second coat. Wash off your roller cover and the tray with soap and water so you can reuse it. Once the first coat is dry, you're going to apply your second coat the same way you applied your first coat. And take a look at how the stone coating laid out. You can use your roller to even out the texture. Make sure you stir the coating thoroughly before you use it. After 24 hours, use 80 grit sandpaper to smooth the surface and expose the stone. Use a circular motion and be careful on the edges. Keep the container that had the stone coat in it in case you need to touch up any areas, especially on the edges if you accidentally sand through the finish. After the 80 grit sandpaper, use 120 grit sandpaper to finish the sanding and polish the stone. Wear an N95 disposable mask. Once you're done sanding, vacuum it down with a wet dry vac and then wipe down the countertops with a damp cloth. You can wipe it down several times to make sure all the dust is removed. Stir the clear coat well but gently. Don't shake it or stir it too aggressively because you don't want to create bubbles. Use a paintbrush in the corners and roll the rest of the countertop. You want to put a uniform thin coat on. After 4 hours, you'll apply a second coat. Apply light pressure and pull it uniformly over the surface. You don't want to overwork the coating. After 4 hours, you can apply a second coat. If you have to wait more than 24 hours for the second coat, lightly sand it with a fine grit sandpaper and wipe it down with a damp cloth. After you apply your second coat, allow it to cure for at least 24 hours. It's ready for light use. It'll be fully cured after 7 days. Wait 24 hours before you remove the painter's tape and use a utility knife to score everywhere where the painter's tape meets the counter. It's an easy way to refinish an old countertop. You have the look and the durability of stone.